Hi guys, Jay Smith here. Welcome to the AskGolfNut channel. Welcome to part 2. If you haven't already seen part 1 though, you can click up there. There's a little card, click on there for part 1. If you can't see it though, because you're watching on TV or something like that, if you pop on my channel listing, part 1 will be directly under this video. So you can have a look at that one if you want to look at the looks, feel and performance into a simulator. But part 2, let's have a look to see if there's a winner in overall performance, peak heights, descent angles, ball speeds, etc. And also, more importantly, forgiveness. When you whack it all over the face and you miss-hit it from time to time, which one will help you more than the other? So after now hitting about 50 shots with each to get an understand of how well these perform, and I've also popped in some different speeds as well, because what we just captured on camera into the simulator green was mid to high 80 miles an hour. Now I've actually done this test at a slightly slower speed, 81 or so miles an hour, and I've also captured some information at my normal speed, about 91, 92 miles an hour, because there is some interesting differences about how both of these golf clubs perform and react, difference to each other when you add speed and also take away speed. So we'll quickly, and obviously don't forget we've got the forgiveness side of things as well, that's the important bit. But let's go have a quick look at how the averages look and see if there's a winner between any of them when we're looking at down the speed down to around about 81 or so miles an hour. So JPX923 forwards first, 111.5 miles an hour ball speed, launching at 18.1 degrees, spinning at 5.2, which is not bad considering you'll see by the clubhead speed it's slightly reduced, peaking height at 28 and descending at 43.6. Now I always like to see a descent angle 45 degrees or more, but bearing in mind obviously that's speed dependent, etc. Realistically, anything going in 40 degrees or more descent angle will stop on any green. So when it comes to you guys understanding at what point you need to stop your irons, what's your longest iron, let's do it under the basis of trying to keep descent angle fairly functional. At the speed that I'd be doing, I'd be probably looking at 6 iron, absolutely could use 6 iron, no problem. But then 5 iron might be pushing it a little bit. You'd want to test it or go into a 5 hybrid just to make sure, but yeah. Carrying 160 yards. If we go straight over to the Cobra ball data, compare straight away, 110.4 rather than 111.5, so a slight reduction, but a 1.1 mile an hour in it. Launching at 19.7 rather than 18.1, so there's a difference in launch angle between these, nearly 2 degrees or 1.6 degrees, which is, okay, there's 2 degrees of loft difference, but we'll get into the dynamic loft in a sec. Spinning at 5.2, very similar to the spin rate of the JPX923 forward, going 29 yards in the air, so fractionally higher, and descending at 45.1, carrying 158, so literally 2 yards short of the JPX923 forge. Now bear in mind obviously there is 2 degrees of loft between these two. If you look at the club speed and club data between them, 923 forge first, 81.2 miles an hour, 1.37 efficiency, very healthy. Remember this is chromoly and it's got a springy face, they've all got springy faces. Attack angle 3.1 down, and club path and face to path is very 0-0. Loft is 25.5, so remember the loft number, 25.5. It's not the static loft what both clubs are designed to have. It's what the golfer physically delivers, which is the important one. And 2 mil toe, 3 mil low, and I've got standard deviation on everything for everybody to critique. And again, let's go to the Cobra. We've got clubhead speeds of 81.5 rather than 81.2, so 0.3 of a mile an hour faster with the Cobra, nothing. Efficiency is 1.36 rather than 1.37, but again, when you go to the loft, you'll see the difference. Attack angle 3.1, 3.1 exactly the same, 1.3 from the inside, 0.5 closed, very, very close to 0. 26.7 degrees of dynamic loft rather than 25.5. So there's 1.2 degrees of actual loft difference, even though there's 2 degrees of static loft difference. 2 mil toe, 3 mil low was the average strike for the JPX, 1 mil heel, 1 mil low for the Cobra. So arguably I actually hit the Cobra fractionally better, and standard deviation also suggests that it's fractionally tighter on its, I mean it's very, very small. What's the 5 and 3, 4 and 3, yeah. Very, very small. So let's go over to the ball and club compare screen. It'll give you the trajectories and dispersion rings and stuff. That's probably the best understanding of how these two golf clubs work. You can distinctly see that the yellow launches higher and peak heights higher, and we are talking about an 81 mile an hour swing. Now, they're both basically exactly the same clubhead speeds, and there's 1 degree of loft difference between these two. And so there's only 2 yards. Again, if there was going to be 1 degree of loft, that's 1/4, I suppose, of a club. and there's 2 yards in it, and so if you were to look at that, that would be 8 yards, and even though it's close, but at 81 miles an hour, you'd still like to see your distance gaps being about 10 yards. So we were within 2 yards of how it should be, but it does go up higher. The Cobra Tour does want to launch higher, and it's because of that extra loft and a fraction bit more, I think, of centre of gravity as well. The lower centre of gravity of the Cobra Tour just gets the golf ball going up higher to start with. I mean, it's not a massive amount, but when you're taking speed off, the difference between 43 degrees and 45 degrees of centre angle is a little bit extra help. Potentially with this, you could definitely go into a 5 of the Cobra Tour. Where it comes to JPX Forge, you may have to think about going to a 5 hybrid, but you'd have to test. And you can see by the clubhead side, it's very, very close to, yeah, exactly the same. Right, let's go into the max out first. So we get an idea what happens when you dial speed right up, like properly right up to my normal speed, 91.3. In this case of the 923 Forge first, it's a 0-0 strike, 1.38 efficiency. The face is fractionally closed, so keep that in mind. But loft is delivered at 27 degrees, and it's gone 9 yards left, so within, I like to keep it within single digits, just. And it's done well. 183 carry is a very nice carry. It is a 30 degree 7-iron, and it has got chromoly and everything else. If you then go straight over to the Tour as a maxed out, so 0.4 of a mile an hour faster at 91.7. Face is still fractionally closed, but not quite as much as the JPX923, and 28 degrees of loft rather than 27, so there's 1.1 degrees of loft difference. Again, there was 1.2 degrees of loft difference between my normal data set, so within reason, 1 degree. Yeah. And 3 mil hill, 0 mil high is a strike, so within 3 millimeters, exactly the same as the JPX923 Tour Forge. If you go over to the descent angles and peak heights though, descent angles for the 923 Forge was 48.8 degrees descent angle and peaking height at 38, nice and high. The Cobra actually goes 50.2 and descent angle and 40 yards in the air. It goes higher, it descends steeper, like for like. However, look at the difference in yardage between the two, 175 to 183. Same clubhead speed, same everything else. We are literally just talking about the difference between 1.1 degrees at loft. What you'll find is, and I've captured this information to showcase this, both these golf clubs work differently at different speeds. If you swing slower, the difference between the Cobra and the Tour and Cobra Tour and the JPX923 Forge, they kind of dwindle out, even to a point of where actually the Cobra is starting to win. It peaks up higher, it descends steeper, and for within reason, considering there's a half a club difference, for next to no difference in yardage whatsoever, it's free distance and it's free performance. So if you're swinging slower, I would definitely say the Cobra Tour actually works better than the 923 Forged. If you then start dialing speed up, it doesn't take long before the JPX923 Forged starts to really stretch its legs, and you can get a good amount of distance extra. I mean, it's just the efficiency difference you can see between 1.38 and 1.34. You are just going to get more out of the 923 Forge, especially when you start dialing speed up. That springy face of that chromoly is really going to start propelling that golf ball forward. But yeah. Right, let's go into some of the forgiveness side of things to see if there's a difference between these two in forgiveness. I've got the 923 Forge first with a heel strike, 9 or 10 mil heel, 2 mil low, an efficiency of 1.33, 1.37 I think was the average efficiency, so it dropped 0.04. If you go straight over to the Tour, we've got a 12 mil heel, 2 mil low, so a 2 mil worse strike. And it's got more loft, 27.3 to 29.1, a face which is more open. So everything there says it's worse, it's worse, it's worse. But efficiency is 1.33. Now, the strike was worse, the face was more open, and there was more loft delivered on the Tour. The Cobra is more efficient, more forgiving, more helpful out of heel strikes. If you then go low on the face, you've got the one here from the 923 Forged, 91.4 miles an hour clubhead speed, doesn't matter. I move around the clubhead speeds for a play around a little bit. But face and path are fairly zero, 9 mil low, 1 mil heel, and 1.32 efficiency, 26 degrees of loft. If you then flick over to the Tour, I've now hit one 14 millimeters low on the face. So the difference between 9 and 14 is 5, but in the world of low on the face, you don't have to then move. It's not linear, it is kind of exponential. The more you move low on the face, the worse and worse it gets. Efficiency is 1.29, but that strike is not good, as in that is not good whatsoever. It's a hard one to tell the difference between these two on the low strikes. I will be honest and say that really, in actual fact, there is no difference between them. They are just as good. Let's go toey now. And this is where the 923 Forge starts stretching its legs over the Cobra because of its design. Cobra whoops the 923's butt when it comes to the heels, basically equal when it comes to low. Let's have a look at the toe. 923 Forge first, path and face are very 0-0. 11mm toe, 0mm high. So nearly half an inch off the toe, 1.37. It's matched the average. Hasn't dropped anything. Not even a smidgen has it dropped. It is basically just, yeah, hit me out the toe. Don't care, hit me out the toe. If you do a similar shot out of the Tour, we've got 90 miles an hour club head speed, so slightly faster again, but moving around club head speed for a bit of fun. Face again and path are fairly 0-0. We've got the differences in loft with half a degree, and the Tour has got 12mm toe, 3mm low rather than 11mm low, so we are talking it is fractionally worse, but the efficiency is 1.32 over 1.37. I mean, even for a couple of millimeters worse strike, the Forge just not just slowly overtakes, just blasts past it on a toe strike. Cobra definitely off the heel, the 923 Forge definitely off the toe. If you then switch it up a little bit just to the massive toes, we've got one here for the 923 Forged, 20mm toe, 3mm low, 1.34 efficiency. If you then go to the Tour, we've got 21mm toe, 3mm low rather than 20, so it's 1mm worse. Loft of half a degree more, and actually the face on the Tour is fractionally closed to fractionally open of the 923. So again, we'll within reason kind of blur them out a little bit, but the efficiency is 1.28 to 1.34. It just, yeah. The 923 Forged, if you are a toe striker, will outdo the Tour. Absolutely. Just, there is no query about it. There is no, there's no question. It will outdo the 923, the Cobra Tour, just flat out. If you go heel though, the Tour will win. The Cobra Tour will win over the 923. It's just how the two golf clubs are designed. The 923 is designed to be much more forgiving off the toe, and so it all depends where you hit it, which will work for you or not. Low on the face, let's be honest, they're basically exactly the same. There's no real difference. The biggest difference I see for me more so is how the faces work and how they kind of work with different speeds. And so the Cobra will work better for a slower swinger because of the more loft and how it just works. Against the 923 Tour, if you're going to go slightly faster, the faster you go, the more it will work. And so I would always say, just definitely always get custom fit for these, always test these, because this is my findings on how I deliver. Every golfer delivers differently, so it is very, very important that you obviously test yourself. But quite an interesting test to see how everything works. There is a question mark, obviously, and I've been asked this many, many times, so I'll answer it again, about the difference in chromoly, again, going into 1025E on the 923 Forged. The question is, because of the change in technology, the chromoly comes out from the 7-iron into the 8-iron. Is there a massive distance gap between the 7 and the 8? And the answer is no. The reason why is because with deflection, the technology will work differently. The reason why it comes out in the 7-iron into a standard 1025E in the 8-iron is because deflection is such, loft is such, that the technology doesn't work as well. And even in the 7-iron, it's starting to dwindle out. 6-iron dwindles out a little bit less. 5-iron definitely dwindles out less. And 4-iron, it's like a straight-faced bludgeon. And so the less loft you have, the more the technology works. And so by the time you get to 7-iron into 8-iron, there's so much deflection through loft, there's no point in having the chromoly in there, so it goes then straight into 1025E. So there you go. Hope you liked the video. If you did, thumbs up. Go on YouTube, like so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's great for the channel. It's important for the channel that you guys subscribe, so thank you. And next to that is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well. We'll see you again soon.